May the 15th, orchids. Lots of woodland orchids first come into flower in May. Common twayblade, Listra ovata, and the early purple orchid, Orchis muscula, are usually the first to be seen, as their season starts at the end of April. Common twayblade can still be seen in numbers on Chapel Bank and in Happy Valley. It also occurs at high elms and several other woods in the Bromley area. Having relatively unremarkable green flowers and an ability to live in several different habitats has probably contributed to its survival. It was once called sweethearts on account of its two large leaves being partly joined together, and also adder's tongue, as the flower lip is forked like a snake's tongue. The early purple orchid, on the other hand, is a great beauty, and has declined to small numbers in most places where it occurs. As with many orchids, Londoners are more likely to see them when visiting North Kent nature reserves rather than looking in London's woods. All the colour forms of early purple orchid, including white, still survive in one Croydon wood. This plant has a rich natural history, with over 90 different local names recorded in different parts of Britain, such as goosey ganders, dead man's fingers, bloody butcher, and adder's meat. The last name comes from a notion that the leaves resembled a coiled adder just out of hibernation, which could also be encountered this month. Like other orchids, it has two tubers which have been likened to human testicles. The genus name Orchis itself means testicle. The larger of the two tubers provides next year's growth, and the smaller one gradually diminishes, creating this year's flower. A third tuber is then produced for the following season. Because of this, it was thought that some orchids could slowly change their position and were capable, in some cases, of gradually moving across a field. The main orchids associated with May are common spotted, green-winged, bird's nest, man fly, and the narrow-leaved helleborine. The one most likely to be seen is the common spotted orchid, Dactyloiza fuchsii, which can even still sometimes be seen in long grass at the edges of roads in the countryside. Its flowers vary in colour from white to a variety of pinks to purple. They are also liberally marked with dots, lines, and splashes of colour which form many different patterns. Sometimes these patterns and their colours can be quite exceptional. Even its leaves differ in their spots. In the not-too-distant past, one of the finest sights in May was a field of green-winged orchids, Orchis morio. In damp meadows and churchyards, thousands, if not tens of thousands, could be seen. These sites are all but gone, but sympathetic management of such churchyards could bring back a few. The tubers of this species and others were collected, peeled and dried. They were thought to be highly nutritious, and due to their resistance to mould, were taken on long sea voyages. Boiled in milk, they made a nutritious meal or salad, which was popular in London till the end of the 18th century. William Turner, the Elizabethan botanist and divine, recorded that there were enough early purple orchids in Cobham Park to please all the seamen's wives in Rochester. The fly orchid, Ophrys insectivora, is also still found in some shady woods across the southern edge of London. It may be more common than we think, as its small dark flowers are so difficult to see in the shade that it prefers. The flowers themselves are good mimics of small flies. The purple-brown lip looks like the body, the straight blue speculum like the wings, and the projecting petals the antennae. They even seem to be eyes. This is all enough to fool digger wasps, which happily attempt to copulate with the flowers. They are rewarded with two drumstick pollinia, becoming attached slightly comically to their heads, which they then pass on to the next flower. However, it doesn't seem to be the most successful pollination mechanisms, with only 1 out of 5 flowers setting seeds. The bird's nest orchid, Neotia nidus avis, has no chlorophyll and perfectly matches the colour of the beech leaves among which it is so often found. Its flowers have been compared in shape to a human torso. Fortunately, the flower spike takes 2 or 3 years to decay, so it tends to be found more often than you might think, except in shady woods where it slowly fades. It seems to do better in warm, wet springs. The flowers give off a honey scent, and it can still be found on Box Hill. In contrast, the flowers of the man orchid, Aceras anthropomorpha, are the shape of a man wearing a large cowl concealing his face. The flower lip forms the arms and legs, all of which can be either yellow, red, or both. Although this orchid is also in decline, It can still be found on Box Hill, the yellow form on Hutchinson's Bank, and the red form in Happy Valley. The narrow-leaved helleborine, Cephalanthera longifolia, is now extremely rare, but may still hang on in the Titsy area. At the end of May, the first flowers of the early marsh, fragrant and lesser butterfly orchids, as well as the white helleborine, may all start to show, but they will be easier to see in June.